Welcome to Gateway's Community Services podcast, A Lifeline for a Lifetime, where we shine a light on people and programs that support individuals in our communities at every stage of life. I'm Joanne Sheehan, your host, and today's episode is about the Care and Support Program at Alvirne High School in Hudson, New Hampshire, a partnership that connects education, aging, and compassion. Students in the Care and Support Program don't just learn about caregiving. They learn to be present with another human being through real intergenerational interaction at the Gateway's Adult Day Center on the school campus. We're joined today by two people who helped make this program possible. Steve Beals, principal of Alvirne High School and Gateway's Community Services board member, and Mindy Huckins, vice president of Aging Programs and PDMS Services at Gateway's Community Services. Thanks so much for being here. First, just let me start out that the Care and Support program was funded in 2021 by the Administration of Community Living Well program through the University of New Hampshire Institute on Disability. And I guess I'll start with Steve. I'd just like to know, how did Alvirne get connected to the Care and Support program?
Well, first of all, good morning, and thank you for asking the question. We've had a long history at Alvirne High School in the Hudson School District with Gateway's Community Services. Somewhere in the vicinity of 1992, the original Adult Day Center opened in the building as part of a vision for Webb Palmer, who the center is currently named for. Care and Support came to Alvirne at the perfect time, where post-COVID, our students were coming to school every other day, which was a whole issue in and of itself. And Sandy Pelletier had a conversation with me saying, hey, we've received some grant funding to try to see if we could bring some element of curriculum to students in the school that would be no cost to the Hudson School District, that would allow us to use the Adult Day Center and potential other individuals with disabilities as a lab site for students as they would learn different pieces. We have a couple of people that we might be interested in having support the program, teach the course, and really what started in a very small capacity turned into a wonderful learning experience very quickly. Mm-hmm. And that was a credit to the vision Sandy has had and promoting this throughout different capacities, but also then a highly effective first teacher, mm-hmm. which is really going to be the stem for anything in teaching and learning. Okay. And a group of dedicated students who said, I'm willing to try anything new. This sounds neat. Adult Day feels like my grandparents. The elementary life skills classroom feels like some of the kids that I might work with or have siblings for with disabilities. And then the magic kind of happened from there. It's evolved from that capacity, for the most part ranging in having 15 students a year, one section in the master schedule at a large high school. But I'm really pleased today to tell you, next year we had 30 students sign up for the course.
Oh, wow.
We have never had that many in our history, to the point where we're trying to run that in 2 courses, one each semester. Oh, wow. And I would tell you, from being a high school principal for a long time, if any of you could see my face, you'd know it. But this is a podcast, so all you can do is hear my voice. That being said, you know you are coming of age when you have a class that meets each semester within the context of a high school. That means the Kool-Aid is being drank, and more importantly, the differences are being made. Mm-hmm. And that's what I believe Adult Day is about.
Okay. And so at what point, when Care and Support first started, did you realize that this was more than just a school program, that it could genuinely change students' lives?
Well, I think it was twofold. I think part of it is the principal of the school gets to go and observe the teacher. And the teacher had a connection with Gateways and Mindy. The teacher and the person who was supporting the curriculum development had a significant history both with Gateways and the Plus Time. And that kind of marriage just kind of worked. Mm-hmm. And it worked from a standpoint of the kids go in the room and are intrigued by what they're learning. And the learning was very active. It wasn't teacher or teachers guest speakers imparting knowledge. It was, here's some theory behind some of the different things we're studying. Let's go out and research those a little deeper and interact with individuals that have certain different health component conditions or otherwise, and how we support things, whether intergenerationally or, again, part of the intergeneration at the time was high school kid in an elementary classroom. It was just the intergenerational from the teenager to the young person who's 5 or 6, as well as the teenager working with someone who's in their 70s or 80s. So the kid feedback always is what drives the train relative to what kids want or not. Kid feedback to one another, hey, you got to try this. Hey, I had a really good experience. And then on the back end, when you did some things through the magic of Gateways, the grant, that certain kids completing the course, in addition to being posted on their transcript, and people being intrigued by this name, Care and Support, what kind of class is that? Mm-hmm. It was also that they would get a certificate of completion, and several have moved on to employment at Gateways as providers, and instantaneously it gave them a bump up from a financial or salary perspective for a part-time job. So really the whole thing was a beautiful entity of kid learning, kid helping themselves, most importantly, kids helping society and community be better, connected to our core values, etc.
Okay. And Mindy or Steve, you can jump in. From Gateway's perspective, what made this partnership worth investing in?
I think I can share that in 2021, when this came through, we were just coming in out of the COVID epidemic, and that posed a particular challenge to workforce. And that's what inspired us on this grant, thinking that where can we look at potential opportunities to grow a workforce around supporting people who experience disabilities and also those who are aging. And with our connection with Alvirne, knowing that students and youth are the future of workforce, how could we create this opportunity to educate students, push our mission, which is about the value of all people and inclusion, while also really making some strategic efforts towards workforce and how to develop that. So I think from our perspective, we knew that the students are a potential future workforce line for this population, and as well as learning how to give back and how to connect to all people in the community. So I think from our perspective, really looking at the way in the future of workforce with our youth. Not everybody wants to go on to a 4-year program, which is one of the strengths of the Palmer Education Center. And this course is another way to prepare for a career that may not lead or may lead to a 4-year program, but it's another alternative.
I love that. I love that. One thing people may not know is that obviously there's a real classroom curriculum behind the program. Mindy, can you walk us through what students learn before they interact with adult day participants?
Sure. So the curriculum for this program was really designed along the philosophies that we train and support actual workforce that work with the aging and disability population. Some of those are outlined in the Medicaid waivers that we can access funding for supports, and some of those are outlined in rule. So what we did was built a curriculum that had those components in it, as well as the philosophical and the heart part of the position. So the curriculum kind of goes through what's the history of this population, where has our state been, where are they going, and really just some basic level, how to interact, how to, it's okay to feel overwhelmed or not know what to do right away, and seeing every person as a person. And that's what they do the first few weeks. So usually they're in class like 3 weeks or so, or from up to 4 weeks before they come in and do the practicum part, because they want those students to have kind of a baseline of what to expect before then they come in. But we don't expect the students to come in knowing exactly what to do when they're doing the practicum part. So then when they get into week 5, they start working on things like communication, like behaviors, seeing a person-centered approach. And then when they come into the site for practicum time, they're practicing those skills, observing those from our staff, but also having the opportunity to practice those skills live.
So when they actually go into the adult day and start working with the elder population, are they what do I want to say? Are they applying those? I mean, is it like a natural, what they're learning in the classroom, does it naturally translate over to working with the elders population?
Absolutely, it does. One, we're aware of the curriculum, so we know we're now on, I think, our 6th or 7th semester of doing it. So we're in a good groove. So we kind of know where they are in their learning. What you see in these students from week 5 or 4 when they show up to when they leave is just a massive transformation. So we know when they come in, they're going to be anxious, they're going to feel insecure, they might feel inadequate or anxious about trying something new. And we give every student their own space and their own way to develop throughout that semester. Some of these students might learn by the end of the semester they never want to do this again, and that's perfectly okay. That's what we're working with. It's just as important to know what you don't want to do in life as what you want to do, and others will fall in love with it, and it'll be their life forever. So you see that naturally happening. So we kind of watch for that progression. We move just like we do with our participants at the same pace that those students need. They're also writing reflections after every class that they're meeting with their teacher. So they're really learning from each other and talking about reflection. So it's a very active part. We're giving them feedback live. And then we also do, they give us a little feedback form on each student, and we give them their strengths where we could see them improve, so that all along the way they're getting live feedback and formal feedback, and they also have lots of supports.
It seems like you have a lot of things covered
Let me add a piece to that.
Yeah, sure.
And I feel the care and support class is like every other class at Alvirne High School.
Okay.
So when a student walks into forestry as a 14-year-old and we give them a chainsaw to cut a tree down, we have heart palpitations.
Right.
Yet we have some 14-year-olds who walk in whose parent is a lumberjack who could teach the lesson. I see care and support the same way.
Okay.
So while yes, you may have 15 students walk into the room, and some very quickly and as naturally as anybody that you would say at a family reunion gravitates to the grandparent, the elder who has a health issue, that still happens. It's natural. You have other kids who are absolutely afraid. They are afraid to put the chainsaw in their hand, in that analogy, because they have never touched a chainsaw. But that doesn't preclude them from taking forestry. Teaching and learning is a process. Developmental disability is a process of trying to gain strengths through inclusion, our inclusion of workforce. I totally agree with Mindy's concept that a kid at the starting point, the middle point, the end point is transformed in different capacities. And it is okay to say it's not for me. And then they go and try something different. And that's what the beauty of teaching and learning is, and really, truly having a partnership where the adult day program for Gateways is part of Alvirne High School.
That's a great analogy. Loved it. Let's flip it. So how do the participants in the adult day program react to the students?
I think it's a really interesting question, Joanne, because the people at Adult Day have had very interesting lives. They have had incredible careers. They have been in very important roles in their life, whether it's within their own families or in the workforce. And so people come with different experiences and different preferences. You know, we have people who were principals at high schools in our program, and we have people who worked in special education and nursing, and then we have veterans and all kinds of different participants. And so I think that for a lot of our participants, they light up when they see the students. For some people who are aging, it can be very isolating. They may or may not have family. Some families respond in different ways to the aging process and may not be as connected. So seeing these students and making connections is a big important part of Adult Day. One of the goals of Adult Day is to reduce isolation and to build connections and relationships. having relationships is a big part of your health outcomes. So there is that instant connection. But also because each student is so unique, they connect with each participant in a unique way. Like one of our participants likes to sit and do his Sudoku every morning. There might be a student who's very overwhelmed at sitting at the table and chit-chatting and morning breakfast, but would be happy to sit next to and talk Sudoku. And they're both situations are just as valuable to our participants. They miss the students, they love the students, they get very excited when the students come. One of the opportunities Alvirne sometimes provides to us is an unexpected fire alarm. And we are very popular at fire alarms. In fact, we hear a lot of teachers saying, please stay with us, because they run over to say hi to the participants. And the participants, as soon as the fire alarm gets pulled, run out and start looking for the students. So I think that's just evidence about the connection.
Do you think it goes both ways? Like the participants look forward to seeing the students look forward to seeing the participants? I mean,
absolutely. I mean, I think the students, especially the ones that, as they're going through this opportunity, it's continuing to validate that this is the type of work or the type of relationships that add to their life or they seek in their future. We had one student, and it brought me to tears.
I'm glad you're giving an example, because that was my next question.
I was like, sorry, yeah, it's just so, it was in the summertime, or school had just ended, and one of the students who graduated Care and Support popped over, which they're always welcome to do. And she said, I brought my yearbook. Would it be okay if would you guys be willing to sign my yearbook? You were an important part of my year, and I'd love to have you sign my yearbook. I wanted to just sob uncontrollably the whole time because it was just so organic and just so meaningful to that student about what they meant to her. She still pops in, she still comes in, she still, when she has a free block, comes over, she still has lunches with us.
Oh, wow.
It was just, it really was, it wasn't just a class. It really made a difference in her life. And, that time in her life was really important, and to monument that in your yearbook, no one asked her to do that. She didn't need to do that.
I'll add as well, thank you for sharing that, because I had never heard that, first of all. That is heartwarming. I think the Adult Day program is good for both participants and students, and for the adults who work at Alvirne. So in my early years at Alvirne, there were 2 locations in the building that were kind of my respite from the busyness of battling kids all day, to the unexpected fire alarm, to you need a break. And that was either the preschool, which we had because they were 3 and 4-year-olds, or it was Adult Day. When I go into Adult Day, I have been referred to everything from thinking I'm a Catholic priest, and they call me Father Beals, to I'm the principal of the school. I enjoy making puzzles with people. I really love when our music students go in, or our world language students go in. This is not specific to Care and Support. I also believe we don't do enough of that. And that is not on Adult Day, that is on Alvirne High School. I also remember the other thing at the very beginning of this, as we started Care and Support, we had just moved into a new space. And I have obviously the history to remember the previous space very well. And it wasn't about the space that I loved and the lack of privacy and dignity. It was the participants in Adult Day were much more seen in our building, because you couldn't get to the building to where the room was without walking through the school. We had exercise every single day down a long hallway, and I frankly missed that. Because
you can still come. It's at 11 to 11:30.
I didn't even know we were still doing that. That's probably because I'm in lunch duty. So please bring the group to the lunchroom, and then I can have lunch duty. And what is so beautiful about that is instantaneously, every single high school kid in an energetic lunchroom will think that they're in a situation with older people coming through, that instantaneously the culture and the climate changes. Because they're not going to do something that otherwise they wouldn't do in front of their grandparent.
Right.
So I want more of those opportunities for Alvirne students and staff to get into Adult Day, and I also want as many Adult Day coming where possible. We had pep rallies where Adult Day were our guests. We had Adult Day sitting in reserve seats at a pep rally or participating in tug-of-war with students. And it was always the appropriate people won, okay, because our kids need to have those examples. But I appreciate knowing about the yearbook piece because that's very touching, and I'm very proud of whoever that individual student was.
We did interview some of the students after their experience to learn more about them, and I know one of the students said that she had never really figured out a way to connect with her own personal grandparent. Not that she didn't want to, but she just didn't have the comfort, and she said that care and support gave her that connection to her grandparent that she will now be able to have in whatever years they have left together. So even though it was a class and it's, you know, about careers, making that impact to her personally, I think really is evidence of how it impacts our students on a much greater level.
Yeah, that's great. So you, as students go through the program, do you see them like mature, gain more confidence, or have more empathy?
Absolutely. When it depends what time the class is being held too, on what activity we're doing, and that provides different experiences to the students. So sometimes the class is scheduled during our morning social time, so they're coming in and greeting people, helping with serving breakfast, as well as checking people in. And there's different parts of the career they're learning from that. So learning to feed another person is a talent and a skill that people in the direct care field might need to help people who have dementia or Alzheimer's and other memory deficits can lose those skills and might need prompting or other supports to learn to eat. And the very first time you sit somebody next to someone and say you might have to help them eat, that is very overwhelming. And so sometimes you can see that skill, but by the end of it, it's like, hey, no problem. Make sure her spoon, they're telling each other, she likes her spoon on, she's actually right-handed or left-handed, so put her spoon in her other hand or just tap her hand. They start coaching each other. And we see that in those very specific type skills, but also just their own confidence in themselves, the belief in themselves that they're wanted and valued as students rises over time because we work very hard to make sure that they understand their value of being in the class, but also that instantaneous feedback from an aging person, the smile on their face, the thank you, when they come in and they call their name or say, sit near me, that just really boosts their confidence. And when young people feel confident and feel able, they're going to excel. And so we certainly see that. And that's earlier we had mentioned when they leave the program, they're very different students. And sometimes we have a student in the fall, so they're coming in maybe as a freshman and they're new to high school and they're new to all these experiences. And we also sometimes have a spring session. You can even see the difference in the development of youth through those things. But certainly there's a vast difference between the day they enter and the day they leave. I feel very confident that when they leave, if they chose to enter the workforce, that they would be very successful.
I totally love that. I just want to ask Steve and Mindy, please jump in. So why do you believe this kind of intergenerational program belongs in a high school?
Well, we all get older. I'm relieved to hear that former high school principals are in the room because I knew they were saving a seat for me in the near future.
Table.
Yeah, exactly. Our business in education is to teach kids what they don't know and get them better at what they do and have a passion for. And so my quick answer to my colleagues is, why not? If we have space in schools, and we do because of declining enrollment in New Hampshire schools, we should be having more and more of these opportunities. The kids are there. If you can do it like we were so fortunate to do with a grant where we had no cost, the Hudson School District has taken, after the first year, full bore of the costs. So we are pleased to be able to provide that as part of a teaching schedule for someone because we see value in it. Is it always easy? No, because resources are more tapped in every environment that we're currently living in. Our student enrollment is declining, which obviously puts some restrictions on staff that we have the ability to do different things with. But my best answer is, how can you be an institution of teaching and learning and not want students to be able to learn more about things that are going to be important to them? Because the commonality for all of us is we all get older. and we have all had a school experience. So combining getting older and the school experience seems natural to me.
I would add that a multi-generational interaction is so important in our world today. Gateways has a mission that we believe all people are of great value. And when we provide opportunities for youth to engage with people who are aging and also people who experience disabilities, we are helping to push that message into future generations. We can't just sit back on our history. We have to move forward. We have to carry that message forward, and these multi-generational programs ensure that the value of people who are aging and people who experience disabilities is moving forward with our new workforce, with the new leaders of our state, of our country, and by exposing young people to these populations, they're going to carry our work forward. It ensures that our future is strong.
Such a great program and a great mission. So just in closing, programs like this remind us that care isn't just a skill, it's a relationship. Students learn empathy, participants gain a connection, and our community benefits from both. Steve and Mindy, thank you for joining us today, and thank you for building a program that honors dignity at every age. And to everyone listening, thank you for being part of Gateway's Community Services podcast, A Lifeline for a Lifetime. We'll see you in the next episode.